Good morning, everyone. At least it's morning for me here on the west coast of the United States. Thank you for joining us for Gate World Live this week at a special earlier time because we have some European folks, some very wonderful friends that I'm excited to introduce you to as we're talking here about comfort sci-fi, Stargate that just lifts you up, makes you feel good, right? This is my brand new friends, Alyssa Aska and Emily Francis Ippolito from the Stargate Fandom Podcast. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having
Hi.
us.
Thank you so much for inviting us. We're very happy to be here.
Well, good. This
Yeah.
is great. I've been looking forward to this for a good long while because we were in touch. It must have been last year, right? That we were in
Mhm.
touch about
Yeah.
your Ascended Sound project, which I want to talk about a little bit later in the show. And so when we sort of ramped up doing live streams here to hang out and talk about Stargate, one of my first rules for the keeping this casual on Fridays was no famous people. I apologize. You're not that famous, at least not yet. I didn't want to have
Yet.
Stargate actors or producers on, at least not right away, but I want to have other fans and explore our fandom together and what we love about the show. So not only have you done these amazing Stargate musical compositions that we'll touch on, but you are also Stargate Fandom Podcast hosts.
Yes.
Well, everybody in the chat, thank you for being here. Let us know if there's any issues I need to address, if the audio sounds good, if you can hear everybody okay. I want to start, again, welcome, but I want to start by asking you, before we get into Stargate, what we love about Stargate, what our favorite moments and episodes that we watch as comfort sci-fi, which I'll give you all the credit is a topic you two came up with that I love. Before we start in on that, what does Stargate mean to you? How did you discover the show for the first time, and how did it become a favorite?
Alyssa, I'll let you go first on this one.
Okay. I guess it makes sense because I think between the two of us, I watched it first.
Okay.
So actually, I discovered it. Interestingly enough, I discovered it when I, with my ex-partner, was always watching Stargate just on a TV randomly, and I would sometimes watch it. But then at some point, I was in a library and I saw the DVDs, and they were sitting there, and I went, "Oh, I used to see this show all the time, just on a TV." And we rented it completely out of order because we had to wait for people to bring back certain DVDs. And so I actually watched SG1 the first time completely out of order. And so that was fun. But then I really got into it. And so then I rewatched it in full and then rewatched it again. And I later eventually decided to also watch Atlantis because, of course, I heard this was a really, really good show as well. And so I've watched Stargate SG1 many times. I've watched Atlantis, and now I'm making my way through a universe. So
Okay,
yeah,
so you
I'm
haven't finished Universe yet.
not yet. Very close. I think we have like 2 episodes to finish.
Okay, very close. Okay, we're going to avoid spoilers for the end. That's fascinating though that you watch the show out of order. Well, I came to Stargate a little bit late. I was watching season 2 and then picking up season 1 in the reruns on Showtime. Did going back then and watching it from the beginning, kind of deliberately straight through, did that change your experience at all? Did it help story pieces click into place?
Oh yes, 100%. And I mean, I just have to say I tend to be very forgetful with shows in general. So a lot of times if I start and then I get all the way to season 10, by the time I would need to start again, I would probably forget most things. But I do think it made a difference because certain plot lines, of course, made more sense, or you watch something and before you didn't understand something that preceded it, and now you did. So it was it was an interesting, it let me kind of see it again, brand new for a second time.
Very cool. That's one of the great things about having a memory, right? The memory of a goldfish is we get to enjoy our favorite episodes all over again.
Yes,
Especially when you've got a
Yeah.
show that is as long as Stargate. It might take you a few months to get through 350 episodes if you're doing the whole franchise.
exactly.
Yeah.
Emily, how about you? How did you find Stargate?
Yeah. So Alyssa, Alyssa introduced me to Stargate. So, like she said, she would watch it with her partner, and they had, I think, all the DVDs at that point, or most of them, and they had suggested it to me. And at the time, weirdly enough, I actually wasn't feeling like I was that much into sci-fi, so I was like hesitant. I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'll like it. They're like, no, trust me, it's really good. And so I watched it, and I actually also watched it with my mom, and we watched it in order, and absolutely loved it. And I watched SG-1, then Atlantis, and I had watched Universe. I also have the memory of a goldfish, so I always forget everything. And so then, eventually, um, once me, like, I haven't actually done a bunch of rewatches. It wasn't until me and Alyssa started the podcast that then I started rewatching and had rewatched SG-1 a second time, then Atlantis, and now I'm working through a universe. But I'm not quite as far as Alyssa is right now. So, and I don't remember what happened, so no spoilers. But yeah, I'm like about partway through the beginning of season 2 for Universe.
So you're not binging this. This is not 5 episodes a night kind of experience.
No, I mean, sometimes I like, when I first started rewatching everything again, I was like at least sometimes watching multiple per day. But then, but then I just started, I do watch it often, and I'm actually currently also, that's probably what has slowed me down a bit with Universe, is I'm also, my 15-year-old daughter, Taylor, she is watching with me, which I'm so excited about because she was very hesitant for the longest time. And she's been watching SG-1. We're now at Atlantis, and she loves it too. So, yeah. So we've been
Very cool.
watching one almost every night.
That's you said you watched it with your mom as well?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah. So
now
it's like a
intergenerational?
multi-generational.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's intergenerational.
That's
yeah.
man, there's no feeling like getting your kids hooked on your favorite shows. We've done
I
that. We've
know,
watched
right?
I've got 3 and we've watched through uh not all the franchise. We watched SG-1 and Atlantis. We haven't watched Universe with the kids yet because
Hmm.
there's an age gap between my oldest and my youngest. So, right, the youngest is the lowest common denominator for what we're watching any given week. We're on Farscape
Okay.
right now. We're coming up to the end of season 3 of Farscape.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
nice.
Okay.
Um, which there's a question we can chase. Other interesting shows. We're going to talk about comfort sci-fi here with a focus on Stargate. But I'm curious, are there other shows, science fiction or not, that you would rank with Stargate? What's sort of your top picks or your go-to?
Oh, oh
Alyssa, what do
my
you think?
gosh. Yeah.
Alyssa, do you have anything that comes to mind?
I mean, I would say I'm probably Emily will have many more because I think she watches in general a lot. She has a lot more breadth of watching. I pick a couple things. But probably I really like, especially the earliest seasons of Spartacus, Blood and Sand, and also Rome. I'm really interested in like ancient cultures, and so I really like also shows that delve into that, which is maybe also part of influencing my interest of Stargate is there's so much reference to ancient cultures. So
Yeah,
that would probably be the things that immediately come to my head.
very cool.
Yeah. Oh gosh, there's one that it's like the images are in my mind. I can't remember the name of the show. If it comes to me, I'll let you know. But I do know The Ark. I love The Ark. I think that's what it's called, The Ark. And in fact, I think I remember seeing that the showrunner of Stargate was the same one for The Ark. And I streamed it here, like since I'm in the UK on Now TV, so they don't have the third season up, but I'd watched the first 2 seasons and I really love
Okay.
that show.
I don't think the third
Um,
season's started yet. It's on Sci-Fi Channel here in the US.
oh,
I
okay.
don't think they've dropped the third season yet. I haven't watched it,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's on my backlog list for sure. Yeah, the Ark is Dean Devlin and Jonathan Glassner. So it's one of the
Oh,
producers from the Stargate feature film teamed up with one of the creators of SG-1, which
Oh,
was
oh,
wow.
right when they got
wow.
together and started
That's
working
cool.
together. It's kind of a funny marriage, but
That is so cool. Yeah, it's a really, really good show. At least I think so. Like I really loved it. So, yeah.
nice. Okay, Stargate. how do we do this? I want to ask you your favorite episodes, but we're about to talk about some of our favorite episodes. So excluding what's coming up, what are your favorite episodes? Let's start with SG1.
Ooh,
Ooh.
there's so many because like I hadn't really thought too far into favorite episodes since we're going to be talking about like the comfort ones. So some of my favorites are in that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one I actually really like that I think some people either love or hate is I believe it's called the space race one, where I think that's what it's called, where
Yeah.
they have like the racing and stuff. I've just always liked it just because it's kind of so random. And but I just love the characters, and I believe that the actor is his name Patrick Curry that plays Fifth is also one of Iman.
Yep.
And I
Yep. He's
really like
works, brother.
Iman. So I really like that for SG1. I mean, I love all the episodes, so it's always so hard to decide, and some of my favorites are on the comfort list. So I can't say those ones. So
Okay.
I
We'll
guess I'll
get
say
to it.
that one.
Alyssa, do you have any favorites that come immediately to mind other than what's coming up?
I mean, I can say one that I really like that I know definitely isn't on the comfort list from SG1, and that would be The Heroes, part 1 and 2.
Yeah,
That's kind
right.
of one. That's definitely not a comfort episode, but it's, yeah, one of my favorites that I like to watch.
This was the challenge that I was facing, coming up with my top 5 scenes or episodes that are comforting, right? Some of the best Stargate that I love so much is just, if it's heroes, it's twisting your guts out, or it's,
Yeah.
an epic adventure, or it's a big, season finale. I don't necessarily watch the big whiz bang space battle explosions for comfort. I guess that they are comforting in a way, as spectacle science fiction, but we'll get there.
Mhm.
We'll get there. Okay. How about Atlantis? Favorite episode?
Oh, well, I would probably have to say Grace Under Pressure because that's also the same one that I chose to write music for when we did a concert thing. So yeah, I love McKay in that episode. I just think he almost carries like that whole episode on his own. I know there's others involved, but it's just the way he's able to just, be by himself in that scene and have so many emotions. And, 1 minute he's like laughing hysterically, and other times he's just feels defeated. And I don't know. I just love that episode.
Yeah. Alyssa, how about you?
I guess if I was maybe picking one, I would probably pick The Tao of Rodney, um, just because that one really sticks out as kind of a nice exploration of the character and digging into that. And I'm a really big McKay fan. But it's hard for me because also there's this like cluster of really character-focused episodes at the end of season 4 that I really, really like, but they're all kind of equal to me. So I would
Mm,
probably have to go with that as one that kind of stuck out in a sense. So
those are good picks. Yeah, both good Rodney episodes. And you're right,
Yeah.
Emily. It's Grace Under Pressure is obviously an opportunity for David Hewlett to just show his chops, right? What he can do when he's
Yeah.
trapped in a
Yeah.
tiny room by himself, even before Carter shows up.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Favorite episode of Universe, which is a show that you haven't finished and it's serialized, so I understand they all kind of blur together for folks. Do you have a favorite standout SGU episode? Either of you?
One that comes to mind. So initially with SGU, I find that probably it took me to get to halfway through season 1 before really got into it. I think it was about halfway through season 1. And I believe, hopefully, Alyssa, you can correct me if I'm right on this, that the episode was Time. That was
Mhm.
one of the first episodes that I was just like, oh, Alyssa, we got to talk about this on our podcast. Uh, um, you know, it, and I think it's just kind of, I mean, I love Universe, especially once it gets into season 2, but for the life of me, I can't think of any specific episode at the moment because it does all blur together. So, but Time was definitely one of them that I think was like once I started to get more into it. And I think part of it was just it kind of brought elements of what felt a little more familiar, like SG1, Atlantis vibes a little bit. Because I really appreciate Universe for what it is as its own thing too. But it just kind of, I think that's the first time they're off of the ship by that point. I'm not sure if there was another time where
there's a
they,
stretch of episodes where
yeah,
they're on the ship, they're using communication stones, they're in water a few episodes before they at least found a snow planet to go and harvest ice from. But otherwise, yeah, you're right. It's
yeah,
kind of the first time going and exploring a planet and getting into trouble.
yeah, yeah.
Good pick. It's a
Yep,
great
yep.
episode. One of my favorites for sure. Alyssa, anything
Yep.
stand out?
I mean, I won't say Time because Emily did, but I would say in terms of an arc that stood out because it's hard for me to really figure out what came from which episode is probably the arc kind of starting with, I think, like trial and error through Malice, I think. The kind of, I mean, I don't know if Emily has seen Malice, so I don't want to get into it, but that sort of series of events leading towards the middle end of season 2, I was really, really getting into that. But it's really, I have a hard time with Universe to actually pick out individual episodes because a lot of times I find it is a little bit more bingeable than, say, SG1 or Atlantis, where sometimes you just watch an episode and then you can watch another episode that's standalone. But with Universe, a lot of times it leaves with a cliffhanger and then you have to watch the next one. And then it's all you kind of get the soup of Universe, which I really like. But it's a different kind of experience, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, favorite characters. I think we've established that Rodney is
Yes, I
Atlantis.
do love McKay. Yeah, I love McKay. It's always so hard to say who one likes, because I love them all. But I do love McKay. I guess with Atlantis, I'd also say Taylor, just because I did obviously name my daughter my daughter after her.
You did name your daughter after her? Wasn't a coincidence?
Yeah. Nope. I was watching Atlantis at the time and I was like trying to think of names and I was just like, oh my gosh, that'd be pretty cool.
Do you know where the name Taylor came from? You know the origins of the name?
David Reed told us actually because he was kind enough to introduce us to Rachel Luttrell, and he had told us about that, where it was the two writers kids names that they kind of combined together.
Brad's daughters, Tessa and Kayla.
Yeah.
Who are name checked on SG1, of course, as General Hammond's granddaughters.
Yeah.
True.
That's cool. So David did introduce you to Rachel. That was going to be my next question, is have you had a chance to chat with her yet?
Yeah, it was really cool. It still feels like it didn't actually happen because he surprised us with it, telling us that we're going to be meeting someone, and I had a suspicion that that's who it was because and then I was slightly in a freak out mode, like thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? What's going to happen? And then we found out like right before that we were going to get to meet her, and she was really kind, but it felt very surreal. I was just like, oh my gosh, did this actually happen?
Have either of you done conventions for Stargate or any other show where you're face to face with the folks that we watch on TV every week?
I've been to one, or I've been to a few Comic-Cons, and I haven't been to a Stargate. I would love, love, love to go to a Stargate one. I have been to the ones that are here in Edinburgh that, sadly, they haven't had any Stargate people here yet. I keep trying. But I have been, I met Alicia Silverstone, and what's her name? The actress that played Matilda. I can't remember her name now, but I had met the two of them, which was really cool. Yeah.
Alyssa, any sci-fi conventions in your history?
I went to Oricon a few times when I was living in Oregon. I went when I was there, which is kind of a smaller, but it's mostly based on, I think, writers and the gaming culture.
Okay.
But actually, my teenagers went to Comic-Con here, and actually Peter Williams was there, and they did sign up to do a photo with him because they're also into Stargate. So that was actually really cool. That was a couple months ago.
Nice. Very cool. I love Peter. I just had a chance to meet him a couple years ago at GayCon for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
Guys, we're hanging out with Emily and Alyssa from the Stargate Fandom Podcast. Put your questions in the chat if you have anything that you want us to talk about along the way. Any questions for them? Raj Luthra asks, scroll back up. Is there anything different you wish that they did in the 3 series and the movies that can maybe be revisited in the new show? Anything you wish that they would have done differently?
I
Not
have
having
one that
finished
pops into my
SGU
head.
yet? Sorry, go for it.
The only thing, because I honestly think they did a lot of things really, really great. I really just wish that it would come out, and I know it won't, that actually the Beckett that was killed was one of the clones, and that the real Beckett was somewhere else, so that he's still alive. But that's just my like hopeful thinking.
It's funny because my thought did go towards Beckett as well, because I didn't like the clone coming back. That just disturbed me for some reason.
Oh,
It just
interesting.
felt weird. Yeah. And
So
so
what's
I
worse
would have,
than Beckett getting killed off or a clone coming back and replacing him?
I think probably the killed off.
Mhm.
For sure. Because it was nice to see him back, but it just felt different to me. Felt weird. That's all I know how to say.
Yeah. I see that. Jeff at Suns and Shadows. We talked about this a little bit. Other shows that you like or enjoy that are adjacent to Stargate. Are you guys trekkers, or have you tried Battlestar Galactica? Or I'm kind of thinking of some of the usual adjacent to Stargate sci-fi shows that I know a lot of folks in our fandom have picked up on. I love The Expanse, which has some Stargate vibes in later seasons.
Mhm.
Oh, I've never heard of that. I did once, a while back, watch Star Trek Voyager, and I really loved that. But I actually haven't gotten much into like I have watched Star Wars, Star Trek, when me and Alyssa were like teenagers. She
I
was a
kind of
little
forced her,
obsessive,
maybe.
and she forced me to watch one of the Star Wars movies, and we were at the very front of the theater, and I could barely see. All I saw was this massive face because we were so close to the screen. It was kind of disturbing, but
But you
but
remember it, right?
exactly.
See, my plan worked.
But yeah, I mean, I do love sci-fi, especially now, and especially once I got into Stargate. But yeah, like I said before, I did like the Arc. I love the Arc. That's like the first time I think I watched something that felt very the equivalent of how much I like Stargate. Um, so yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Alyssa, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same. In terms of movies, I did watch all of the Star Wars. I'd probably say I've actually maybe seen more movie type things than shows. I didn't see Battlestar Galactica yet, although I've been told I really should. I did see Star Trek growing up. I think TNG was on a lot,
Yeah.
at least in syndication. When I was younger, it would just be on, and so I would see it. But yeah, I would say I tend to watch shows that are kind of some weird historical things that is not super sci-fi adjacent. Although I'm always interested in tips if people have that.
Yeah, we're talking about favorite shows, and of course, everybody now in the chat is coming out. Guys, what is Stargate adjacent that you think these two would like? Dark Matter from Joseph Malazzi comes to mind, Jeff says.
Hmm.
Okay.
Dark Matter,
I've heard
there's
of
2
that.
different shows called Dark Matter. One is an Apple TV Plus show that's on right now. That's like
Mhm.
I haven't seen it yet, but I think it's a parallel dimensions kind of story. Dark Matter
Oh,
from when did that show premiere? 2015? From Sci-Fi Channel, had 3 seasons, and it's Joseph Malazzi, one of the SG-1 Atlantis universe writers, went off and co-created that,
Wow.
and it's characters on a spaceship. Definitely worth a
cool.
watch. Okay, we got votes for Battlestar, The Orville, Firefly,
Oh
of
wait, I
Yeah,
did
Emily's
course.
see
seen
the
that. Yeah.
Orville.
You seen The
Yeah,
Orville?
I forgot about that. Oh my God, yeah, I love that. I haven't seen all of it. I somehow got away from it a little bit, but that's hilarious. I loved when it was a more of the beginning parts of it because I felt like it was a little bit more weird because I like the weird. And then it started to get a little bit more like traditional sci-fi as it continued.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Oh, Red Dwarf, that's good. Doctor Who, Red Dwarf, of course, UK
Oh
sci-fi.
yeah, I guess I've seen Doctor Who. That's one of my favorite shows. For some reason, that didn't occur to me that that's adjacent. I love Doctor Who.
There you go.
So there you go. That's probably also something I would put on par. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Okay, so now tell me the story of how this came about. That the two of you, right? You introduce each other to Stargate. You're watching Stargate. You're loving Stargate. You're talking about it. You decide, let's turn on the camera and start a podcast on this.
Oh, can I tell? Can I tell the
Yeah,
story?
go ahead.
Actually, Emily and I started a podcast that had nothing to do with Stargate earlier because we kind of, I think during the pandemic, we wanted to sort of get in touch, and it was a way that we could have video chats and just chat about various topics. And I think it was in 2024, we decided this is a year of positivity. Let's talk about, positive things. And so we started making podcasts about positive things. And I think our episode 4 was on Amanda tapping. And then as soon as we did that episode, it was like something clicked in our heads and we just went, wait a second. I think we both had the same idea. Why don't we talk about Stargate? And so we pivoted to Stargate Fandom Podcast.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, our old podcast was called Chat and Chill, and we were trying to figure out quite what to do because part of it was based off of the fact that we've been best friends ever since we've been, 4 years old. And we're both just massive dorks and always kind of silly. So at first, like we were trying to have content that just kind of showed that and things that we were interested in. But yeah, it just all made sense once we talked about Amanda tapping because so many times throughout the years, we've always, made Stargate references and talked about it. And Alyssa was always rewatching it way more than I did because at the time I didn't have access to it. But yeah, it just made sense. And then yeah, it just felt comfortable to do, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I love the friendship-based podcasts, right? David and I podcasted together back in the day when Atlantis and Universe were on, and it's, boy, folks, find yourself somebody who gets your references, who can
Yes.
understand when you say, um, uh, what's a good line? If
Indeed.
Indeed, if you immediately know the candlelight is fire, the meal was cooked long ago.
Yes.
You know, find that person, hold them close, and start a podcast with them.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Raj Luther wants to know, my chat keeps scrolling away. Alyssa and Emily, what are your thoughts on the new Stargate continuation series?
So
Hopes,
that's referring
dreams,
to the new series that we'll be getting.
wishes for the next show that Martin Garrow's creating right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. So excited. So excited. I don't know. I'm just hoping that, I mean, I know it will be amazing. I trust. And I'm just hoping that maybe they have some cameos of some sort of a few of the, people of the past or surprises with something. But I don't have any like specific like expectations because I fully trust it's just going to be full out amazing. So I'm just really excited.
Good. It'll be good to have Stargate
Yeah.
back, and hopefully classic Stargate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Alyssa?
Yeah.
Pure excitement, honestly. Like, I'm just really, really, really excited and can't wait. And I mean, I also feel I just want to sit back and see what they put out and enjoy it. And if it's something that I don't like, then it's even fun because we can talk about it. So I'm just really happy there will be something new to consume, basically, Stargate related.
So then back to the podcast. What's the strategy? You decided to call this a Stargate Fandom Podcast. Is the topic of the show typically the show's fandom, or is it your fandom, sort of? What kinds of things do you guys talk about?
Yeah, I would just say, yeah, basically we talk about the show and our thoughts on the show. Sometimes we'll have other fans on, and that, we'll have a discussion either about, you know, things like we initially were also trying to find fans that like created stuff that wanted to show their creations, but we haven't had any luck yet on anyone reaching out to do that. But yeah, basically we've talked about episodes. We kind of leave it open in all honesty. We were fortunate enough to talk to Brenda James. Like that was really cool. She played
Yes.
Katie Brown.
Yeah, Katie.
Yeah, and so yeah, basically it's, us, sometimes we have on friends. And it's just basically anything that's Stargate related that we feel would be fun to talk about, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I did okay, Alyssa. You have
Oh no, you
anything
did
to add to that?
fantastic. You did perfect. That was perfect. That's
Yeah, I love
exactly
the
it.
topics. As I'm reading through the headlines, I can tell you're watching the show, right? Rush finally trusts someone. Was pathogen a breakthrough for Chloe? But then you also have these fun, kind of topical
Mm-hmm.
episodes in here.
Oh God, our thumbnails.
What's
I
a
love the thumbnails.
favorite? What's a favorite conversation that you've had?
Oh God.
That's a
I mean,
good
we both
question.
told you we have a memory of a goldfish, so I don't know if we can answer that. Because it's kind of like we sometimes just come up with like, a few days before we're recording, sometimes before that, deciding what to talk about. And then it's like we just kind of do it, edit it, put it out on Mondays, and then continue onward. So I can't really think of like a specific favorite. I mean, I guess it was really cool to interview Brenda James because that was the first time we'd ever interviewed anyone. So that was really fun. And it was interesting to kind of hear like her experience, on set and what she's doing now and things like that. And so that stands out in my mind because that was one of the more recent ones. But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a specific favorite. Alyssa, can you?
I mean, aside from, interviews and guests, we also had a couple other guests that were really fun. We met with other outside of people that we know in real life. We met someone Donna, that we met online, that is
Yes,
engaged in a
Donna.
lot of fan art creation. She writes fan fiction, and we had a conversation about character dynamics in the show. And it was kind of enlightening to hear some of her takes on the character dynamics because it was stuff I didn't really think of. And I always love it when somebody brings something that I wouldn't think. We also met with, interestingly enough, another podcast, Choreography, who does actually figure skating content because they're doing cons. And I thought, oh, that's an interesting overlap that they were also doing kind of this sci-fi scene. And I follow figure skating, so we kind of talk with them about fandom and the overlap of fandoms. And so I think some of the guests were really nice, but also in general, I just really love it when we have a conversation about something and somehow Emily brings something that I never would have thought of. And then I get to learn something kind of new that wasn't in my sort of realm of how I was thinking about a relationship or a scene or something that happened. I think some of those are my favorite moments.
Aw.
Jeff, Sons and Shadows, who is also a podcaster, says all podcasters have memory issues. You might remember last week, but favorites dreams is like, let me look at the list. Totally.
Oh my
It all
gosh.
blurs together.
Thank you for saying that. I always
Yeah.
thought it was just me.
Well, especially when you're podcasting for years and you've got, a few hundred episodes under your belt. I
Yeah.
I haven't podcasted in a good long while, but one that stands out in my mind, right? It's the unusual ones that stand out in your mind. When Atlanta season 5 came along, and we were doing episode commentary every week, discussing the episode that had just aired, and when the Shrine came along, you remember this McKay episode with
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
second childhood?
Yeah.
One of my favorite, if not my favorite episode of Atlantis. And David Reed was otherwise occupied. He was traveling or something and couldn't do it that week. So I'm like, this is going to be a great episode. We got to talk about it. Who are we going to talk about it with? Let's reach out to David Hewlett and see if he wants to come on and do a podcast. So somewhere in
Oh
the
my
archives on
gosh.
Gateworld, there is me talking with David Hewlett about the Shrine for an hour right after
Oh,
we
that's
had
Oh
done.
my
amazing.
gosh.
I'm gonna
That
That's a
find that.
dream, huh?
definitely, yeah, standout moment. We
Wow,
get to do
that's
some
cool.
fun stuff. The Colonel SG13, thank you for upgrading your membership to Patreon. Appreciate you. Raj asks, do you play any games? What are your other hobbies when you're
Oh,
not podcasting?
well, hobbies. I don't know. I mean, I do play I play a lot of Roblox with my daughter.
There you go. Perfect.
You know, back in the day, me and Alyssa used to play Final Fantasy VIII
Outstanding.
without saving it, and so we'd play it for hours upon hours and leave it on. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm into music. I teach singing. I'm a music composer. Those also can be hobbies. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Alyssa, your hobby of figure skating is interesting.
Yeah, true. I mean, okay, I also play games. I wish I had more time to play games. I guess right now the one I would be starting would be the Final Fantasy VII remake. I
The
just
remake.
got
Okay.
for the Switch too. Um, but I've been waiting because of deadlines, and so of course time gets away. But I usually like that. I've sometimes playing Mario Kart with friends on the Switch also. I used to play a lot of tabletop games. So actually, for a while, I had a collectibles store and did trading card games, collectible card games, that kind of thing. Um, I don't know if anyone has really heard of this obscure one, Pirates of the Spanish Main. That was fun. But in general, yeah, I do figure skating and I also do a lot of music related stuff. And I'm in arts management, so that is kind of becomes a huge like extra hobby in a way. So.
That's cool.
Oh, and then one other game that I just thought of that I actually have been playing. I don't know if anyone knows, like on Netflix now, they have a section where you actually can play games, and it's really cool because you can connect your
I love
phone
that.
and make it like a controller. And so me and my daughter have been playing this Lego game where it's like a map of and you can choose Lego characters, and it's really fun. And you kind of go on little like mini game kind of thing.
Cool. That's great. Yeah, gaming with your kids is a different experience, right? Because I was, a pretty good Mario Kart racer in my youth. And then, there's this tipping point where you're racing against your kids and just trying to get them to have fun. And then, okay, well, this 8-year-old gets to sit on the couch and play these tracks over and over again all day long while I'm racing. And now he's smoking me. And there is no chance that I'm going to get first
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I have this memory of being at a LAN party. I was 19 and I went with my partner and a bunch of our friends, and we thought we were very good at Halo, and we got completely annihilated by this 12-year-old that just beat everyone, and it's
Exactly.
humbling.
Exactly. Now I like chill games. I like puzzle games. Just leave me alone. Let me do my thing kind of games. I'm playing a lot of No Man's Sky. I can turn
Oh,
off the
nice.
player versus player interactions and just, it's a
There you
science
go.
fiction sandbox with a trillion different planets in it. And they just added a new update with basically putting Pokemon into the game. So you can go
Oh,
capture
wow.
creatures and battle them.
Oh, cool.
That's
I also
exciting.
do have a VR headset too. It's like now all coming back to me of all the games I actually do play. But yeah, a VR thing that there's like this Jurassic Park one that's pretty cool, but it weirds me out because it moves. Um, with the VR, I have to be careful because the first time I used it, I completely full on Matrix fault. I just fell backwards and wiped out because I was in this weird space thing and I hit into a wall in the game and I just like fell backwards. But weirdly, I fell loose, so I didn't hurt myself.
Yeah, my VR experience is very limited, but I feel like I would want to surround myself with couches and mattresses
Yeah.
and get the lamps out of the way.
Yeah.
Well,
Good
you both
thinking.
brought up music. Let's talk about Ascended Sound, which is a Stargate-oriented composition project that you did with a
Mhm.
friend of yours. What's the basics of this? If people have been reading on Gate World, we featured it last year. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong one. What is the basics of Ascended Sound? What's the project and how did this come about?
So basically, I think at some point, Emily and I had the idea because we're both composers, but actually we work in very different areas of composition. I'm in contemporary music, concert music, and Emily's working in film composition. But I thought, hey, wow, wait, if we did a Stargate project, we could actually both compose and kind of do something together. Um, and so actually it was us and one other composer, Martin Ritter. We composed each a piece for this ensemble. I kind of assembled this ensemble at my university. We got a really nice recording space, and we each wrote pieces that were inspired by some aspect of Stargate and something that, we found special to us. And so there's these three pieces. Each of them has some special connection with either a particular episodes, or just a concept. Um, and so we did that, and then we recorded it. We had a live stream concert. And then we also did on our podcast an episode where we each talk a bit about our compositional process. And so, yeah.
And your piece, Alyssa, is Unending Window of Opportunity.
Hmm. Yes.
Martin's is Ninth Chevron, and Emily, yours
Hmm.
is Grace Under Pressure.
Yes, correct.
So you're deliberately taking cues from these episodes? I mean, taking cues metaphorically, not like
Yes.
pinching Joel's
Yeah,
score per se, but you're taking
right. Yeah,
inspiration from these stories.
I think we all kind of I approached it slightly different. Like for me, I literally just kind of thought of McKay and his like emotional state of what he went through throughout that whole episode, and I kind of almost compacted it into like what I remembered. Like I did rewatch the episode, but then so I kind of base it off of initially like kind of hearing like almost like a downward scale in the beginning that's like representing the ship falling down, but then after that it kind of goes more into his mental state is kind of what I focused on. And just little clips that I could remember, then when he hallucinates Carter, kind of having that sound come in and almost at times be a helpful sound, at times be a distracting sound. So sometimes he would have panic, and then other times he would feel more at peace until eventually by the end of it, then they are saved. Shepard comes and saves the day.
This is a hopeful note.
Yeah.
Good. Alyssa, what about your piece?
Hmm. Yeah, mine was inspired actually by two, Window of Opportunity and Unending. Partially, I really like to work with form and time in music. It's kind of like the thing I really enjoy. And so in this one, I was working with the idea of repetition and loop with minor changes, but then also this idea of suspended or dilated time. And so the piece has a lot of repetition with subtle changes, but also this sort of macro and micro experience of time.
Very cool. I love it.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about those two episodes and how you can weave those themes together. time loop and time dilation. Ocean
Yeah.
Stars asks, have you written anything regarding Teal'c? That'd be an interesting one.
Oh, that would be interesting. I haven't. Alyssa, have you ever written anything Teal'c inspired?
I'm not sure. So I honestly have to say a lot of my composition titles in general reflect Stargate titles or themes, but usually actually episodes and not necessarily characters. So I mean, I do have one that is called Fifth. That is actually, I mean, it's partially because it's a number of a harmonic series, but it's also inspired by a character. But in general, it's mostly episode things. But I would be interested what someone would think would be a cool concept for a Teal'c inspired piece.
Yeah, and I hear
Yeah,
fifth.
especially.
Right, I hear
Yeah.
replicators. Then I hear the replicator march in my head immediately. Emily?
Oh, I was just thinking with Teal'c, it could be quite amusing because of the fact that he's, a man of few words. So it's like just one long drawn out note.
Yeah, actually, that would fit with a lot of the things I already write. So, I mean,
Well, there you go.
I'll just write a piece called Indeed and
Perfect. What about Joel Goldsmith's music? What about Stargate's score? What grabs you? What pieces stand out?
Oh, I wouldn't know like specific pieces necessarily, but I mean, part of like, I mean, I film compose and the whole reason I realized I wanted to be a film composer is just when I watch things and it, the music just really pulls you in like with the emotion of what's going on in the scene. And so that's what I always noticed about his music is how impactful that is. And I've just always loved all of it, that it's beautiful music. So, and it just really helps with all the emotions of the scene. So that's what I always kind of notice about it. But I guess, if I'm thinking of, the little theme where it's like, whenever Sam and Jack kind of have a moment, um, that's kind of very heartbreaking and heartfelt all in one.
I would say the Ascension theme sticks out to me as like one of my favorites. But I also yesterday, because we're kind of working on something, I heard in the background this theme of Universe, which I really like, and I realized this is also one of my favorites. So,
Yeah, the Universe score is next level, I think.
mhm.
And boy, when you guys get to Gauntlet, when you get to the last episode, it's Joel at his best.
Oh.
There has been an extended fan campaign over the last 15 plus years to get Joel's music released. I want to buy the CD, and it's just an SGU score alone would be phenomenal.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I would really love that because I would love to figure skate a program of Stargate, and it doesn't exist. So
Yeah,
That
you
would
have to
love to
compose
do
your
that.
own. Have you ever skated to your own composition?
No. Well, actually, yeah, technically I did, but that's another story.
Okay. Guys,
Another weird project.
if you have any questions for Alyssa and Emily, post them in the chat. We're hanging out and talking Stargate. And we want to move to our kind of main discussion topic that we teased you all at the top of the show, which is comfort sci-fi. I love this, right? Because life is rough. There's a lot going on in the world that makes me want to turn off the news and turn on my favorite team of 4 or 5 people going through the gate, getting into trouble, getting out of it, and going home. So
Yeah.
thank you for this topic. This is a great way to celebrate Stargate, I think, and what it does so effectively. Right? It's a show that tells lots of different kinds of stories, right? There's more thrilling episodes, there's spectacle storylines, there's a little bit of horror now and then, there's some romance in there. But set us up here. How would you define comfort sci-fi? What are we looking for here?
I would say comfort sci-fi is anything that kind of helps you escape and feel good by the end of watching it. Like it's nothing that's going to make you feel anxious afterwards. It's something that uplifts you in some way. Even if it were to be a serious episode, it somehow, just makes you feel good by the end of it. So that's how I would describe it.
I would say it's something that makes you feel like home.
Like
It's
home.
like home.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think of comfort food, right? For most of us, probably comfort food is the stuff that we ate as kids. So your
Mhm.
grilled cheese sandwich, your macaroni and cheese, good ice cream cone, right? A good cheap vanilla ice cream cone from the corner store. These are comfort foods, and this is where I go with my TV somebody in the chat used the word escapism. Ocean Stars, we need more escapism nowadays for sure. It's I mean, the entertainment that we choose to watch is affects us emotionally. Of course it does.
Mhm.
It can stress us out, it can entertain us, and it can uplift us. So you challenged me to look for not just top 5 episodes, but kind of episodes or moments. Is that
Mhm.
what you both ended up doing with
Mm-hmm.
your lists? So we all have a top
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
list that we picked. I realized as I was doing this, right, top 5 could easily become top 50 if we're talking moments or scenes that are
Yeah.
comforting to me that I go back to when I want to get a good feeling, when I want to feel good and sort of warm and fuzzy and wrapped up in a sci-fi blanket at the end of the hour. So let's go in order. Let's take turns. Who wants to go first? Oh, you know what?
I'll go
Let's do this
first.
because I put
Or do
my
you want to go
first
first?
one on the thumbnail. So anybody who's paying attention to the thumbnail already knows what my
Did
first one is.
you?
This is the end of SG1's season 2 premiere. After Apophis mothership, 2 motherships
Ah.
attacking Earth has been destroyed, and they got off, they escaped, they saved the day, they got back home, but they think Daniel's dead, right? Daniel got shot on board, left behind. The ship blows up, and then they get in the gate room. And end of the day, Earth is saved, the crowds part, and Daniel steps forward and he's saved, right? He made it to the sarcophagus, he gated off the ship before it exploded, and
Mhm.
Jack sees him and embraces him. Right? This is a classic moment from Jack and Daniel's relationship. Jack calls him Space Monkey. A nickname I wish
Yep.
would have come back. But this is the only
Me
time he calls him
too.
Space Monkey. Right? They've been together for, as a team for a year, and they're friendly. There's good moments of building their friendship in that year, but it's kind of, the military team leader and the dorky archaeologist. This is the moment where, for me, watching this, it solidifies their friendship in a way that hadn't been done up to that point. And it's one of those moments where, like, okay, sometimes everybody lives, right? To quote Doctor Who, everybody lives.
Yeah.
There's no grand heroic sacrifice in this case. Everybody lives. What do you guys think of this
Oh,
moment?
that's a good one. That's a good one.
A
Oh,
very
I
good
never
one.
would even thought of that. Yeah, I like that. That's a good choice.
And it's like such a touching Jack and Daniel moment too, I
Yeah.
think.
I just love Jack and Daniel's vibe. It's so funny, especially in the later seasons, how they're just always kind of, getting in their little bickers. They're always just kind of, picking on each other playfully, and it's amusing to watch. So
Yeah. Yeah, you watch them argue sometimes. They can really get at each other because they're coming
yeah.
from different perspectives on issues like, do we blow up this terraformer? And then there's those little moments where you see they're like, Jack's kind of an older brother,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and they're okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, Alyssa, what is your first comfort moment?
I will say Maternal Instinct. The episode of Maternal Instinct, especially the scenes with Oma Desala. just because a lot of that kind of stuck with me, and it started the trajectory of the ascension and enlightenment, which is something I found really interesting. And so that would be probably one of the episodes that I would choose, especially this introduction to this concept and some of the quotes of Omadesala. So that would be my first.
Ah, you chose a deep one.
So deep.
I love this episode for all the reasons you said, for the introduction of Ascension and Oma's character and the sort of cryptic way of talking, which in this instance comes through the monk at Keb. Yeah, I was trying to think of something kind of Ascension related that is comfort sci-fi for me. That's a great pick.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, Omadesala, I get kind of creeped out by. So
Creeped
she
out
doesn't
by?
give me much she doesn't give me much comfort.
So she's Mother Nature, right? The mother should be comforting, should be a warm blanket, depending on the relationship that you might have with your mother. But boy, when she comes back, you get Meridian and Omadesala start showing up. You're probably in trouble. You're probably
Yeah.
at death's door when Oma shows up.
Like the Grim Reaper.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Emily, first pick.
Okay, so my first pick, was basically the whole episode, but it was the other guys because I absolutely love Felger Coombs, and I just find like that whole episode hilarious. But if I had to pick a scene from it, it would probably be when they dress up as the Jaffa with the ridiculous, Sharpie marker symbol. I just love those two so much. I was very excited about it, and I was really excited when I got to that episode with my daughter, and sadly, she wasn't as into it as I was.
Some of those, especially the humor episodes, I feel like have to grow on you a bit. Especially if it's a generational thing. There's generational humor that we'll encounter in the shows that we watch with our kids. And I'm like, this is
True.
funny, right?
Yeah.
No. It's different. Yeah, John
Yeah,
Billingsley
very
in
true.
the slightly too large Jaffa armor.
Yes. Yeah,
Perfect.
and I don't know the name of the actor that plays. Is that which one does he play? He's Felger or
John
Coombs?
Billingsley is Coombs. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I don't know the other actor's name, unfortunately, but he also reminds me of Steve Carell. Like he has a Steve Carell look about him,
Okay.
and his humor is kind
Yeah.
of similar.
Patrick
Yeah.
McKenna is a little Canadian Michael Scott. I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready to move on? Let's see. Next on my
Yeah.
list is a similar sort of experience where when I go to SG1 for humor, this is an episode that had to grow on me. I've mentioned on the stream before that I was not the biggest fan of Ergo when it first aired, but the more I watch it, it's just soaked into my bones. All the little one-liners, all the little Dom DeLuise improvisations. So I'm going to pick the whole of the episode Ergo and all those little moments, right? Teal'c drinking coffee. Isn't that hot? Extremely. All those little beats, right? Is it defibrillating now? It's just Dom is pitch perfect.
Yes, yes. I would imagine that's a common one, I would assume, for many. And actually, you totally stole it from my list.
Oh, it's on your list. I was kind of wondering. Yeah, because the funny episodes have got to be, you got to have at least one on your list.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Emily, tell me why you love Ergo.
Just because, like you said, he's just so funny. I'm someone that just with my own personality, I'm a massive dork, and so whenever I see something that makes me laugh, it warms my heart. and so, yeah, I just always love the funny episodes. Like they're my faves, and Dom DeLuise is just amazing, and like everything he does. Like, once he starts becoming really annoying to all of SG1 is like some of like the peak entertainment of that episode. So yeah.
No, I
Okay.
love Argo. I almost put it on my list, but I didn't because I thought either one of you would. And also, is my youngest daughter is one of her favorite episodes. That when she's sick, she will like always ask to watch Argo.
Aw.
Good. Good. I appreciate the next generation appreciating Dom DeLuise, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm an 80s kid. I grew up watching Cannonball Run. And it's a different generation.
Yeah, because my daughter hated Urkel. I was so sad. I was so excited about it, and she just found him incredibly annoying. So maybe I can convert her at some point, through another rewatch. But for now, the verdict is she was not into it.
It's very quotable. It's very quotable.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready for Alyssa's next pick?
Sure.
Yeah.
I would say divide and conquer. And
Ooh.
specifically when because I oddly I love Jack and Sam, but I also love Martouf. So on the one hand, it's a little bit sad. But I do like that they have this sort of it's like building into Jack and Sam, and that's when it finally happens. And so this kind of like them admitting, but like that they never actually get together, I really like that. So I kind of like that it happens, but it doesn't happen, and you can be happy about it, but it doesn't ruin the show. And so to me, that's one of a plus, like in general, I think the whole arc, this first these 3 episode arc where they have the Tok'ra and then it leads into Wind of Opportunity, I really like.
So is it the Sam and Jack payoff that is your comfort moment, or are you taking pleasure from Martouf's death?
Probably like leading into when they finally go, oh no, we're not Zatarks, and then they admit, and then they say this never leaves the room. That's kind of it. I am really sad about Martouf
Oh.
dying. I really like the character, so I would it kind of makes this balance then where then it's sad again, but yeah, what can you do? It's Stargate.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
sacrifice in there. Good pick. Emily, any
Yeah.
other thoughts on divide and conquer? Are you ready for your next pick?
I mean, I don't think I have any. I think it's always fascinating because me and Alyssa are always like very opposite on the types of things we pick. Because I'm always just like picking like the funny ones, and she really like picks the very like go in depth and really think about it moments. So I appreciate your pick, Alyssa. Not wouldn't be mine, but I appreciate it.
Okay, well, let's ask this. Sons and Shadows wants to know, Sam and Jack, where do you fall on their relationship? Are you both shippers?
Ah, yes.
Yeah, why not?
Why
Yeah.
not? Ringing endorsement. Good. I am a Sam Jack shipper. I will admit it proudly.
Yeah. I think that seems like the best match for Sam compared to all of the other ones. So, yeah.
Okay, Emily, hit us with your next one.
Okay. So I chose from Stargate Atlantis, season 2, episode 4, Duet. And that's where McKay switches consciousness with or has what's her name, Lieutenant Cadman. And I just like again, like with any McKay moments where it's like his acting is amazing, where it's like it's just hilarious to me whenever he is Lieutenant Cadman. Like I just love it, and I believe that's also like the first time that he actually goes on a date with Dr. Katie Brown, I believe.
Hmm.
And he couldn't even like really talk to her that well on his own. He had to
It was very
have,
McKay
you know.
before Cadman took over, which I relate to. It's hard to talk to a girl on first date.
But yeah, I just like just the physicality of like how he acts that out is hilarious to me. It just like, reminded me of oh, what was the movie with Jim Carrey where it was
Oh, he
he
does this
was it
in Liar Liar.
Yeah,
where
it
he's
was
kind
in
of
Liar
fighting with
Liar.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing. And yeah, I just thought it was hilarious. So that like any of the episodes that are quite funny like that, even though I know that that was a serious thing, that wouldn't have been cool if it stayed that way. But yeah, it is a comfort show for me for sure.
Good pick. Yeah. Rodney's getting lots of representation today. Okay. Next on my list. Well, to keep the theme going, this is my Rodney moment. One of my favorite Rodney moments, Alyssa, you mentioned Tao of Rodney earlier, which is an episode I love from start to finish. It's got so much wonderful stuff going on, right? The humor and the heart and the mythology about ascension and the is McKay gonna die? Of course he's not gonna die. But the moment that I picked is when Rodney goes to Ronan and he says, "Those scars on your backs, are they important to you? Do you want to keep them?" Essentially, he's asking Ronan, and then Rodney gives Ronan a big hug and says, "I just healed them." That's what he chooses to use his superpowers for, is to heal Ronan.
Oh,
And those two don't get very many moments together, especially not tender
yeah.
moments. That one really stands out as comforting, as uplifting to me. The whole episode I'll go back and watch any day of the week, just to get an Atlantis hit. But it's those moments that really stand out when I think back about the episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a really sweet moment. I honestly do have to refresh my memory on that episode. I haven't gotten into my rewatch with my daughter on that episode yet. So I don't clearly remember it, but yeah, I can see how that would be a comfort for sure.
Yeah, that's a very, very touching moment. And I have to say, I really love the moments specifically between McKay and Ronan. When when they have their special moments, it's very sweet. I love it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't. I mean, it's fitting for the characters, right? That they're kind of oil and water. They don't have a ton in common, but when the writers find ways to put them together and have them connect in that way, it makes it all the more powerful, I think.
It's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, Alyssa, you're up. Number 3.
Okay, so it's kind of maybe two parts from I mean the whole episode in general, learning curve to me, which I guess again it doesn't really seem like a very comforting um episode, but probably the moments where they explain their way of learning, and that's how they do it, and sort of this like understanding that somebody else might do a different way than you. And also specifically the end, also when you think Colonel O'Neill is kind of doing this like he is disobeying and doing this like thing of taking her away, and then that he actually brings her back, and then you realize at the very end that he was actually teaching her how to learn and teach. And so that moment when they visit, and you see that she remembered some of the things and that they learned how to learn. And so this thing he did in defiance, where you think he's just kidnapping her so that she doesn't go back, actually had this huge meaning. Like I really like this. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you're thinking of ones that I wouldn't have thought of at all, but yeah, that's a very good point. I can see how that would be very impactful.
Yeah, it's an emotional ending too. It's
Mhm.
I mean, boy, this is one of my favorite Jack episodes because obviously he has this history. He lost his child, and now he has the opportunity to intervene. And I mean, when he says things like she's going back to have her brain sucked out, and I dare anyone to put it differently,
Y-
you
Right?
understand what is at stake for Jack. Yeah, I was tempted to
Yeah.
put this one on my list as well, and it's the way that he kind of, this is Jack's character.
Hmm.
He's when he's not by the book, it looks like this. It's because he has a reason like this, like a kid. So him
Hmm.
standing in front of Hammond at the end saying, for one day that little girl be a kid. And if you want to punish me for
Mm-hmm.
that, go right ahead. That's Jack O'Neill.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay,
100%.
Emily, you're up. Number
Okay.
3.
So I'll go to my number 4 because my number 3 was Ergo.
Okay.
So we already talked about that. But my number 4, so it was an SG1 season 8, episode 12. So it's Prometheus Unbound. So that I believe is the
Ah.
first episode that you meet Vala. And I love Vala. And specifically in this episode, what I remember from it, because I haven't watched this episode in a while, but what came to my mind when I was trying to think of these episodes is the fight scene. I find it hilarious. I love that fight scene so much because it gives like a weird vibe of like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like the movie, you know, that was with Angelina Jolie and was it
Mhm.
Brad Pitt at the time?
Mhm.
How they have their weird fight scenes. It's kind of like that vibe, but I looked it up and I actually think that the Prometheus Unbound like fight scene was done way before that movie came out. And it's weird to me that it's kind of that similar vibe, except theirs is much more humorous. And I just, yeah, I find that hilarious. And of course, again, I'm picking the funny ones that I find funny at least. So yeah.
That's a good one. That's such a good fight scene too. I love it.
Yeah.
You're a fruitcake.
As a huge Farscape fan, I loved having Claudia on the show. Obviously, this is Vala's introduction, but the first scene that I think of when I think of Prometheus Unbound is when she takes over Prometheus dressed in the Cull Warrior armor, the super soldier armor, and
Yes.
she finds Daniel on the bridge and approaches him in full super soldier gear and says, "You are very attractive." And
I
Daniel's
forgot
reaction
about
is
that.
just
Yeah.
great beats
That's
in that
funny.
episode. Okay. Let's see. So we're on number 4. I love the episode Upgrades. So this is going to be the whole episode for me. Upgrades is season 4, episode 3. This is SG1 gets superpowers because they have the gauntlet, the Atonique armbands. And so they're faster, stronger, smarter, and everyone except Teal'c. And it's just a great story. It's the Tok'ra, right? This is the introduction of Anise. So we have the Tok'ra here. We have a dead civilization. We have advanced alien technology, and we have O'Neillisms just wall to wall. You know, maybe my favorite line. I quote this episode a ton to my kids. This is great. Now that my kids have watched Stargate, they're getting my references that I've been quoting at them for years. But it's O'Neillisms like you have the strength of what's the line? You have the strength of 5 humans. And Jack says, so no increase then. What do you guys think of Upgrades?
Oh yeah, I loved that one. I like how it I like when it even though like there's a serious nature to it, it kind of they all kind because that's the one where they have the device where they go really fast, right? And it's kind of like they all get almost kind of giddy, like little kids in a sense that they have this ability and, super excited about reading really fast, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I loved that episode. And then also with that episode, that's where it kind of brings on the Sam and Jack moment too, right? Where you kind of find out later on in the following episode, I believe that is, that I think Alyssa, you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
So,
Divide and
yeah.
Conquer has the flashback to this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously I love Upgrades because that whole arc is just like in the beginning of season 4 with from like Upgrades through Divide and Conquer, and then I love it. And so that would be a really fun one.
Yeah, the trip to the steakhouse is in this episode.
Yes,
The
classic scene.
yeah, the pool hustles in this episode.
Yeah, that's when they had the big fight, right? And that scene's always really funny to me because it gives off a very early 90s vibe. I don't know, just kind of like those shows like when they have the fight scenes with the big guys like, like always start a fight. It gives off a certain vibe that I thought was amusing.
Yeah.
And of course, Jack says, "Well, this is a cliche," when they're like surrounding.
True, yep.
Yeah, he calls it out. He's seen this movie 10 times. Guys you're putting your continue to put your favorite comfort moments in chat. Ocean Stars says, I can't remember the name of the episode. You're talking about Cold Lazarus, when Jack was taken over by a blue crystal consciousness and was able to reconnect with his ex-wife and also his child that had passed. We see the softer side of Jack.
Oh,
That's a great pick.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful one. Yeah.
yeah, that was a good one. It was sad, but like in a good way.
Raj Luthra says, friend and I just watched Upgrades yesterday. Good timing.
Cool.
Jeff, they go to the bar and order a ton of steaks. I've been tempted to do this at a steakhouse. Yeah, to order 3 big, rare steaks. Excuse me, that was for me. And John Yuld in season 5 with the death of Daniel is one of my favorites. The emotional goodbye and the music score at the end gets me every time. Meridian is one of
Oh,
Stargate's best for sure.
Yeah.
I don't put it on my list for comfort, but it's a stellar hour of television.
Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, where did we leave off? Alyssa, I think you're up.
Okay, I'm gonna say one that's probably controversial, but it's sort of my selfish, guilty pleasure pick. I'm a big fan of time travel. I'm a big fan of ancient cultures, and I'm a big fan of Sam and Jack. So Mobius, the the ending, the ending part of season 8, both episodes,
Mobius.
the whole thing. I love it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I really, really like it.
Who doesn't
And
like
if I want to just
Mobius?
watch some, what?
Who doesn't like Mobius?
I don't know. I've heard it is kind of a controversial pick of choice because of the time. Like a lot of people are not really into the time travel episodes as much, but I'm a big time travel lover. And I love that, I love nerdy Sam and nerdy Daniel, and I love that Sam and Jack kind of get together again, but not really. And I love that they go fishing at the end. So yeah, it's kind of like it's like a lot of fan service.
It is. That's a perfect
Oh
way
my
to put it. It's a
gosh.
lot of fan service, and they could get away with it, right? Because it was an alternate timeline kind of situation.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you stole one of mine, Alyssa.
Oh no,
You stole
really?
my
Okay.
final one. Yeah. Because I was trying. Again, I don't have the best memory in the world, so I haven't rewatched that one in a while. But what I always remember from it is, you know, the nerdy Sam and the nerdy Daniel that I absolutely love because they're just hilarious, and just like the facial expressions, like especially Amanda Tapping, like the funny thing, she always makes these really hilarious facial expressions as like the nerdy version of herself that I just love. That's so funny. And the two of them together, it's just, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, Amanda's background in comedy really shows here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got some great lines as well, not from any of the team, but I mean, definitely great lines from the team. But the one that stands to mind is the beginning of the alternate timeline when we get nerdy Daniel teaching in the classroom is from the guest star. I love the line, "My name is Carlos. You made me so hot."
That's
He's
a good
teaching
one.
them to talk about the weather.
That's funny.
Okay. Anybody else in the chat? Favorite moments? We're coming up to the end. I've got one more on my list. We took Emily's already. Emily, I guess you have a minute to think of a backup
Yeah.
if you want. Suns and Shadows 1969 is a really good episode with the backstory of Daniel's parents and Jack with his Black Ops history. Daniel's parents. Are you thinking of the Gamekeeper with Daniel's parents? And Jack's Black Ops? Yeah, good. Both of them good season 2 episodes.
Both of those are good.
Yeah.
Rick Costa, I like the one with the crystal skull, and no one can see Daniel except his grandfather. That's a
Oh,
good,
yeah,
a
that's
good
a good
comfort
one.
pick. Yeah, Daniel and his grandfather.
It is.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Daniel's grandfather? Did they ever say, like, did he just go back to that and, like, you never see him again? I can't remember.
Yeah, we left him there. We left him with the
That's
giant
hilarious.
aliens with
Yeah.
Quetzalcoatl,
Giant aliens.
and never gets mentioned again, does he?
No. Yeah. Huh.
Shaze45, I love when the hippie couple, 1969, the hippie couple says they're going to some concert. And of course, we know it's
Yes.
Woodstock, right? We're on our way to a concert
Yeah.
in upstate New York. Okay, my fifth and final pick is so I tried the way that I approach this assignment is to look for what gives me comfort in Stargate is, well, humor. I wanted to make sure I had humor on here. Ergo is my go-to funny episode. Something that has heart, something that has friendship and camaraderie. But the last thing, I wanted to find something that has a sense of wonder. And where do I go when I'm watching Stargate? And I want that sense of wonder, that we are part of something that is bigger than us, that Earth is stepping out into a big wide galaxy and we're doing the best we can. It's Jack meeting the Asgard in the 5th race.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, so you guys thought very deeply about this. I was just like, funny, 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 funny.
I wanted to do a good job.
That's a good one. Yeah, I can
That's a
see
very good one.
see how, yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about that, but I do like it.
And then contrast it, right, when Jack meets the Asgard later in an episode like Red Sky, when he goes before the Asgard High Council, and he's telling them to get off their little gray butts and do something.
Yeah.
I almost put the 5th race on my list, but I just had a feeling one of you would.
Okay. You have a good sixth sense. Any other thoughts on the 5th race? Again, the whole episode is amazing. It's a great team episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, it is very much. A lot of classic humor in there too, with some lines by O'Neill speaking Asgard and
Yes. I love that.
or ancient, I guess it would be.
He's
Speaking ancient.
That's right.
Just popped into my Fran.
Which again, I quote all the time, and I need people to get my psychosis. I need David Reed around, or my wife is good at catching my references right. You got to bend your Kozars.
Yeah. Yeah, I know my daughter's just now finally, she's also now starting to quote things, from Stargate, and then she starts like rolling her eyes and shaking her head, and she's like, a year ago I never thought this would be my reality. She used to always wonder what I was talking about when I would just like, wake her up in the morning and just start quoting Stargate.
Good. Okay. Any other thoughts on 5th race? Alyssa, you have one more on your list?
I do. I have the last one, and it's from the first episode that I ever saw.
Oh.
And I saw it again. I saw it kind of half watching it in syndication. I later watched the full episode, but it's the scene at the end of, I mean, the whole episode, obviously, but at the end of the Knox, Something Worth Taking Home scene, when they're leaving and they realize what the Knox are, they're revealed, and they kind of understand what they were trying to say, and that's something worth taking home, because of course they were there to try and get some technology and some weapon, and they didn't, but they took something much more valuable, which was knowledge.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I love the Knox. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love
the
the
very
Knox. Yeah,
young do
that's a
not
really
always do as they are
touching
told.
moment.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a touching moment. Yeah. I never thought of that, but yeah, I love the Knox. One day want to dress up as a Knox for cosplay too. Don't know how to do it, but
Sons and Shadows. Yeah, there is one more mention of Nick, Daniel's grandpa. It's
Hmm.
season 7, Evolution Part 1, when they go looking for the Fountain of Youth,
Really?
which ends up being Telchak's
oh,
Okay.
device, the ancient device that the Gould used
Yeah.
to create the first sarcophagus. There's a mention that
Hmm.
it was
oh,
one of Nick's earliest obsessions. So he does at least get name
Okay.
dropped, but no, we don't find out what happened to him other than
I don't know.
presumably he lived happily ever after with the giant aliens.
yeah.
Okay, Emily, we took 2 of yours. Anything else come to mind that you want to bring us home with?
Oh, I guess actually someone just kind of reminded me in a sense because they said "Come try us." Um, but yeah, so that is what's that one called with Harlan, right?
Yeah,
That's a good
Harlan's in a
one.
couple.
Oh, he is. Yeah, the first one. The first one I really like.
Tin Man?
Um, what?
I think is it Tin Man, the first one? I don't know.
Yeah, first one is season
I
1's Tin Man. I'm looking for a picture of Harlan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just love it because he's so awkward and weird. And that always awkward and weird always makes me happy. So it would be a comfort episode and I always say come try it whenever I can. Some people have no clue what I'm talking about and others do. Yeah, see, doesn't that just make you happy?
Yeah, Jay Brizzo, brilliantly played.
Yes.
Hmm.
Love Harlan.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I think we did it. That's my list.
Yes.
Guys in the chat, any other lists, any other comfort moments or episodes you want to add to the list here? Or any questions for Alyssa and Emily before we wrap up? This was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you
Oh,
so much for having us. It
thank
was a
you.
blast.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you.
I mean, this is let's get down to basics, right? This is one of the reasons why I love Stargate so much, is because, right, there's amazing adventure and great characters and special effects and music, but it's a show that I want to go back to over and over again. And
Yes. Yeah.
right, calling it covered sci-fi is a great way of putting your finger on that. I love going back to these episodes. I don't need to watch a season at a time to understand the story. I can just pick a favorite. I can go back and, I'm feeling a little down. I need to pick me up. I'm gonna go watch Ergo. I'm gonna watch Upgrades. It's just one of those shows.
Yeah.
Very true.
Hannah HK says, I love Failsafe. That's another good
Mm.
standalone adventure, right? Going
Hmm. Hmm.
to stop the asteroid from impacting Earth.
Oh.
Reckless wants to know, who do you think could make an appearance in the new series and why? So if there was a good story reason to bring somebody back, who would you like to bring back?
Mm. Oh my gosh. Oh, I want to bring back everyone. um, I mean, I think oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, because I always go back and forth with everything. I mean, I think when we were talking to Brenda James, we were kind of, talking to her about, if you had like a good reason for your character to go back, how would you imagine her to be? And she thought, it would be cool if she was like a mom and helping teaching like fellow people about I don't know what it was. She was a botanist, and
Mm.
and maybe one of her kids in it would then be like one of the main, people or in the show in some way. So that could be pretty cool. I mean, of course, it could be amazing, to have Sam, you know, back in some capacity, or uh McKay. I don't know. I'm terrible with making decisions on that one. I would love everyone.
Yeah, we just need a reunion special. That's just right. Do the
Yes.
new show. It's its own thing. It's going to tell its story. But then let's have a reunion special that's just fan service.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, I would love to see many of them back. I think actually it's really feasible that a lot of them, I mean, maybe not, of course, not as main characters, depending on what the primary aspect of the show is, but I think in terms of as side characters or people that are in leadership roles, I can definitely see many of them coming back in that regard. Because I'm sure we would watch a new, kind of main team, but that they would be there in some capacity would just make sense,
Yeah.
Yeah.
depending on where it's
Bring them
set and
in.
how it's set.
Bring them in for their expertise for a particular episode, particular story. I don't want to give away spoilers, but this is done really well in SGU season 2 in the episode Seizure. There's a couple of characters who come back, and it just fits. It's just perfect. Of course, those characters would be
Okay.
involved in that story.
Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Martin Ritter's in the chat. Says the one with Vala's dad. Oh yeah, that's Family in season 10 with Vala's dad.
Yeah.
Played
Hey,
by the great
Martin.
Fred Willard.
That's a
Martin's
fun
the other
one.
composer.
Ocean Stars says this live stream was uplifting in itself. Oh, that's nice. Cheered me up.
Oh, that's
Aw.
sweet.
Aw.
I appreciate that. See, we're gonna have to have you guys back when we need some comfort live streams. Daniel
That would be
Kosar,
amazing.
Avenger 2.0. That's the second Jay Felger episode.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah,
yeah.
good one. Another Felger and Coombs. Yeah.
Matthew
Oh my gosh, if
Coburn,
they
the dude.
brought
Carter, I can see my house.
if they brought Felger and Coombs back to the new
Yeah, see, there you
series,
go.
that would be
There's your
amazing.
answer.
I'd be so happy.
JC45, I liked Foothold when Sam and Teal'c are the only ones who haven't been taken over by the aliens. That was a great
yeah.
little twist
Oh.
in Foothold when
fun.
it's Teal'c and then Sam who have to come to the rescue because everybody else is compromised.
Yeah. That's the one where she says something like, "You're an idiot every day of the week. Can't you just take one day off?" Right?
A great quote at Mayborn. Let's see. JZ45 would also like to see a grown-up Charlie who's been from Show and Tell, who's been living with the Tok'ra. We never
That would
saw
be
Jeff
amazing.
Golka's Charlie again. He went off his body was failing because he'd been engineered by the Ritu to speak with humanity, and he went off with the Tok'ra at the end. That would be great to see him
Yeah.
blended with a
That's a good
Tok'ra
one, yeah.
and an adult now.
That would be cool. Yeah.
All right. Anything else in the chat? Anything else from you guys?
We're just so very grateful to have been here and very happy. This was very enjoyable. It's great to be around someone that also gets the weird references. And
Yes, it's so much fun. And I was like really nervous beforehand because I've never done a live. So I was slightly terrified, and it was all quite comfortable. So thank you.
Good.
yes, thank you.
Good. You're a natural. Before you know it, you're going to be doing live stream podcasts instead of the pre-record, just so you can talk with the people.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Rick Costa, remember this funny Teal'c line? I am not Lucy. That's a good classic Teal'c line. Okay, name the episode. Anybody in the chat or in the room? When does Teal'c say I am not Lucy?
I mean, I think I know what it is, but I want to see if someone else guesses it first, obviously.
We're on a little time delay with the chat. Yeah, we're talking about Clone Jack now. Michael Welch's Clone Jack from Fragile Balance
That's a good
is
one.
all grown up and still acting and very handsome. He can play a fully grown Jack clone in the new show. I wouldn't mind that.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
Daniel's
I would
got
like
it.
to
It's
be
the
Jack.
teal quotes in Brocca Divide.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, you guys. Okay, now we're just quoting Teal'c's greatest hits. What is an Oprah? See Stargate. Stargate is comfort sci-fi. It's stuff that 20 years later we're still quoting to each other and laughing about and hanging out on a
Yes.
Friday. So thank you, Alyssa and Emily, for being here. I really appreciate the
Thank
chance to hang
you.
out with you. I hope you'll come back and hang out more. Stargate Fandom is a wonderful place full of wonderful people. Guys, go and check out the Stargate Fandom Podcast. You can see more with these two whenever you want. What's the publishing frequency? Are you guys doing weekly shows?
We try and do weekly. We usually do like Mondays. Every now and then if we have something that comes up. So we're not super strict with it, but usually we regularly do weekly on Mondays, and every now and then we might have a little bit of a gap of like a week or so if we have something going on that we can't. But yeah, weekly on Mondays.
Excellent. YouTube, and then do you guys do audio other
We have
places?
YouTube
Apple
and
Podcasts,
Spotify.
YouTube, Spotify,
Spotify.
for
Yeah.
the audio version. Perfect.
Yeah.
I've got the link to the Stargate Fandom Podcast in the video description, so go look for it there, or just search for Stargate Fandom Podcast here on YouTube. That will be excellent. I'm also going to add a link to the Ascended Sound concert, which we touched on earlier. You can see these guys work in action in musical composition. Definitely worth a watch, worth a listen. I enjoyed that very much. Raj is slipping in last minute questions here. Other than the Stargate, do you have any favorite technologies? Technology from the Stargate universe.
Oh.
Oh God.
What do you think?
I don't know.
I mean, off the top of my head, I would say the Zat. I really like the Zat. I like obviously the puddle jumper that can also the time machine. And maybe this thing that what?
Sorry, the Asgard beaming device.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That would
Why
be
did I
handy
not
to
think of
have.
that first?
Yeah.
Good. Rick Costa says you ladies are awesome. Ocean Stars will subscribe for sure. Excellent. Thank you both for being here again. Thank you to our moderators who are here helping us out. Jeff at Suns and Shadows Cast. Raj Luthra is here. Who else? Hellcats is here. Thank you to everybody on the mod team. Thank you also to Gateworld's channel members. You guys are incredible. You help us to continue to do what we're doing. And we're going to keep it rolling. The rest of April is something like this. So today's April 10th. We just chatted with Alyssa and Emily. Next week, I'm going to take the week off. I'll be doing some traveling, so no live stream hangout next Friday. But we'll be back on the 24th and introduce another new face, Stargate fan, Charles Bugie, who has just joined the Gateworld team and is doing some video editing for us. And he's I think Charlie's going on the Gate Cruise that's coming up next year. We'll talk a little bit about Stargate RPGs. We'll talk a little bit about GateCon and convention work. It should be another fun hangout. So I hope you guys can make it there. That one is, I think, back at our regular time at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Okay, I think I covered everything.
Fantastic.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Be good. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.